Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, Adam Cruz, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host right here,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome to 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan and DWildMusicRadio.com. We're here today to bring you all types of wonderful information and great things going on in the world of music. So, Adam, with that being said, let's jump right into what we need to be talking about.
Yes, let us take a moment and let our listeners and our viewers know that the Freedom Radio Hour is here not only giving you fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. As my brother said, we are on 91.6 FM and on the web at DWildMusicRadio.com. So check it. We have to talk about it. I got a little bochinche.
Oh, you know I love that word.
Spanish for gossip. We're talking about YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, YouTube is being sued right now.
Indeed.
Check out why. There's a conservative nonprofit group. Their name, I believe, is Prager University, Prager University. On their YouTube channel, they have 196 videos. Of those 196, YouTube has censored or taken down 37 of them. So, Prager University has sued YouTube because they claim that because they're a conservative nonprofit, YouTube, being a left-leaning organization, has targeted them and has censored them. They said that the attorneys for Prager University has said that they did not violate any of their YouTube's policies nor terms and conditions. They checked and they say that the videos that were censored did not have any nudity.
Checked? Prager University checked.
Prager University's representative checked the 37 videos that YouTube censored for nudity, for profanity, for extremist ideology. They say none of that was present in those videos, and therefore they allege that YouTube is engaging in discriminatory practices by targeting conservative-leaning channels and taking down the material. And in favor of that, they want to push, and they don't take down similar language that's being discussed from left-leaning organizations. The attorneys say, look, we went and we looked at Bill Maher and this channel and that channel. They're on the left side, and they're talking the same stuff as my clients did in their videos, those 37. And so for some reason their stuff got censored, whereas the left-leaning guys' material did not. What do you think that is?
Ooh.
You think that's somebody going click, click,
Well, you
politicizing,
know,
weaponizing?
Evidently, there is a reason. We just have to hear what YouTube's side of their reasoning is for taking down. You know, from what you just said, they didn't violate those three specific things, but evidently a violation was made somewhere along the line for them to say, we're going to pull these down. You know, did you use somebody's music that you should have used in the background or something as simple as that?
Exactly.
You know, or did someone within the company itself say some derogatory or some type of comments that were not privy to the public? You know, it's a whole bunch. Until you get both sides, it's hard to say. And with what's going on in the world today, with so much false information
I was just about to say
being perpetrated and being put into the public's eye, you have to be very careful and you have to be mindful of what's being thrown at you. And I mean literally thrown at you.
Yes, I do say. Well, YouTube hasn't officially responded to the claims on each of those 37 videos yet, but they have issued a statement to say that they have denied any allegations that they are engaging in any sort of politicization or weaponization of their algorithms, because that's what's really at play. And so they'll have to deal with that in the courts, and they'll have to respond to this claim that's been made by Prager University.
And they'll have to prove that YouTube is doing it.
Right, or not. I mean, the thing, I think what's interesting here is we are underestimating the power that technology has put in front of us. We think...
And the power for people to manipulate it.
Yes. Exactly. We oftentimes think that these are just algorithms, these sort of math calculations where certain words are targeted and triggered in some way, but it really goes much, much deeper and much more nuanced than that. It's not some sort of blanket approach. And you would think that these are sort of bots, you know, not real people, this computer-generated sort of action script. But there's more to that, because you're right. There are people at play and powers that be that are manipulating a lot of the information that we're seeing and are being viewed to us, and we had to be more careful than ever before to be mindful of what we're watching, what we're listening to, and what we're reading, because oftentimes I have been caught by this. We've talked about it in previous episodes, but now we're in an area where not just the content and news are being manipulated. Now there's a problem with even the comments that you read under articles being posted are manipulated. For example, just this morning, Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General of New York, has started an investigation against the FCC, the Federal Communications, FCC, I forget the other C. Anyhow, the FCC is being looked at or flagged because the allegations are that the FCC is engaging in fake comments. So if you go to gofccyourself.com, you can leave a comment to express your displeasure with the possible repeal of net neutrality norms. But they're alleging, Eric Schneiderman's office is alleging that the FCC is engaging in propagating fake comments under that
make it seem like it's pro.
Yeah, like
people
it's pro
want
repeal.
It. People
Right.
want it.
Right, which is crazy. So check this out. Not only can you not rely on the news that you're reading on the internet, sometimes you can't rely on the videos you're watching. Sometimes you can't. What else can't you do?
Oh, please.
You can't
rely on the President of the United States to tell the truth. We'll be right back. 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of
It's
Sedan.
true. It's so true. Come back with us, all right?
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome back to 91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan, and dwildmusicradio.com, freedomradiohour.com.
Yes.
We're glad that you're back with us, and I'm here with my one and only knowledgeable co-host, the one and only Mr.
Adam Cruz. Thank you so much for joining us. Eddie and I are breaking down our music news and trends from around the globe. I'm so excited you're back with us. We have to jump right into it. We started to talk about it a little earlier in the last segment, but as we were discussing YouTube, it segues perfectly into the problems around net neutrality regarding the FCC. Okay, so when our current president was put into power, he appointed a different head of the FCC, which was a gentleman by the name of Ajit Pai. Now, Ajit Pai is very much aligned with the political ideologies of our current president. So what does that mean for you and I? That means that up until then, we had this idea of net neutrality. That is the principle that internet service providers treat the content that you and I watch and receive online the same. What does that mean? That they don't engage in any sort of blocking, throttling, or paid prioritization. What does that mean? That they say basically that we agree that we won't treat some content and transmit the data so you can see that faster than others, depending on who pays us, paid prioritization, or who doesn't, throttling. That means you could slow the competition's data down because they're not paying you like the competition is. So up until now, we had net neutrality in place that prohibited internet service providers from doing that. In particular, we're talking about our three biggest. That's AT&T, Verizon, and Comcast.
The greedy ones.
The greediest.
Yes.
So
of them all.
Yeah, so FCC, we've talked about this before, has really been chomping at the bit to see what they can do to repeal net neutrality norms because they want to create more of a competition in the market between these juggernauts so that based on what you pay, you could have like fast lanes, fast transmission of the information. But that's a big problem, as you can imagine, because this starts to get into problems with free speech. You see, what if a left-leaning conglomerate buys and the right-leaning conglomerate doesn't? So now we're talking about lanes of information being slowed down or sped up depending on who you're aligned with. Back to our point with YouTube, this is when this becomes really problematic because we have to imagine where you live. You basically, where I live, you have only a few choices for internet service providers. You don't have like a plethora of choice. And imagine if you live like sort of out in the boonies or in more rural communities, they have even less choice for their internet service provider. So now you have to contend with not only living in a sort of remote area of the world, but now you have to deal with the fact that the person you're signing up with, the organization and company, they may or may not be aligned with the right people, which affects how fast or slow you get your internet. You see, this is why when Eddie's always saying we have to be present at the table, I take that to mean a broader. Well, that means you have to be present at the voting booth. You have to be present in registering to vote. You have to be present in the local community politics to know what's happening. Because all of this, as you see, went from local to...
And most importantly, to make one's voice heard.
Yes.
Because without your voice and without people stampeding the castle, you know, stuff does not change. It's not only until people decide what they want. You know, a lot of times we make the mistake and we let others decide what is the play, and it really, you know, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I can't be worried it's affecting that group of people over here. So if I got the money and I can pay for the internet, I can't worry about the people that don't have it. I can't worry about the public schools that don't have it. I can't worry about the senior citizen home that doesn't have it, as long as I have it.
Right.
So
and this brings it down to like the music game. You wonder, why are we talking about this on the Freedom Radio Hour? Well, because it has everything to do with the music game. This is only a hop, skip, and a jump to the three biggest music labels we have in music right now: Sony, Warner, and Universal Music Group. Those three are like the three big in the FCC discussion that we just had. So it stands to reason that, let's say, if Sony had a better deal with the telecom industry than, say, Warner did, or if Universal did. You see, all this happens, and these three juggernauts don't really get the full impact. You know who does? It's the smaller outfits, because, you know, they're not the only record labels in the world. They're small, teeny, tiny labels like myself. I have mixtape sessions. I'm a small, independent label. And right now, I'm essentially have allowed these three major labels to decide the trends of how we're dealing with music.
The trends from around the world.
Yes, because why? Because I have to, because I'm a smaller guy, to a certain degree, have to play the game according to the rules set by those at the power top. And that is Warner, Sony, and Universal Music Group. In the case of telecom, you're only going to have to contend with Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast. And it's only a matter of time before these folks start to consolidate.
Oh, they probably already are someplace. I was getting ready to say that. Yes, you know, they probably already are. You know, they have these little think tanks. How can we get the most? Well, if we hook up with AT&T, who happens to be blah, 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 jargon, that we put AT&T with company blah, 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 blah. Sony, for instance, my God.
Right. And now, any other label or any other music is going to be easily accessible or harder to access depending on the labels that they're signed with, because they may or may not be in bed with the right or wrong company. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to break down more of this music business news and trends right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sedan. DWildmusicRadio.com, FreedomRadioHour.com.
Come back with us. There's more.
Freedom Radio Hour.
All right, and we're back right here live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at DWildmusicRadio.com. I'm sitting here with my fantastic partner,
Eddie Nicholas. What a beautiful people, and welcome back.
Yes.
You know, we were talking about so much, and I know we're getting ready to wind it up, but with that net neutrality, you know, it's just so crazy how people can just sit and make decisions that affect so many people without consciously thinking about what's best for the good or what's good for the few.
Right.
You know, it's just such a...
And this is why it's important that you have to let your voice be heard. That means registering to vote and voting. That means calling that congressman or congresswoman and let your voice be heard that way. That means going to gofccyourself.com and posting a comment under the FCC's website so you can leave real comments. Because not only are you letting your voice be heard, but you're combating some of the fake comments that they're alleging FCC has been paid to engage in some way. So we'll see.
And, you know, and basically,
or is paying to engage
and basically letting those officials that you have elected, make them responsible for why you put them in office to handle those things that you need to make a change. But, you know, enough of all that political.
No, but I think it's important. You know why? Because we're over here as artists fighting to make a living. We want to get to closer, as close as we can to a livable wage and beyond. I'm not talking about the Beyoncés and Britneys of the world. They're making millions. I'm talking about the independent artists that are not at that level, but at more of the middle and lower levels that too have a right to continue creating art and to make a living from that. In particular, I wanted to bring up this songwriter, this story that I think you should really, really take in. So there is an LA-based songwriter. Her name is Mickey Shiloh. She has written for the likes of Pitbull, Britney Spears, and Janet Jackson.
Oh.
Okay. So over the years, she had a publishing deal that over the years earned her $2,000 a year. Not very much at all.
So much you ended like 2% on every song or something like that?
Well, she does admit, I signed a terrible deal, and it was through Darkchild of Rodney Jerkins, but it's not. She doesn't shade him. She made it a point to say that it wasn't because of him that she had this bad deal. It was at a time she signed when she was 17, and the market was at a huge downturn, and so she wasn't able to garner the kind of deals had she gone, say, later in the years. So she said that's really the primary reason why she had a terrible publishing deal. All that to say, she was earning about $2,000 a year, and she was just struggling with what to do with this pieces of a catalog that she owned, but wasn't really earning her much. Well, it turns out that she learned of this company I want to talk to you about. They're called Royalty Exchange.
Okay.
They're basically an auction house for copyright holders. They take your copyright and they put it up on auction and leave it to the highest bidder, and they'll pay you a lump sum to buy that copyright from you. So in Mickey Shiloh's case, she took portions of her catalog. I don't believe it was her entire work. It was just a portion of the work that she owned, and she allowed Royalty Exchange to place these items up for auction, and she earned $20,500 from the sale of portions of her catalog. And so that according to her is the equivalent of about 10 years in future royalties.
Waiting for that money. But even with that, I wonder if there are any taxes taken out on top of, because when you get money's taken away, so you got to pay it out.
Sure.
For whatever reason. But taxes, that's why.
Yeah, but if you're an LLC, which I don't want to presume, but she more than likely is some sort of LLC or something like that, then those royalties are then written off. You report them, but you write them off in your taxes. So that might be the case for her, but we don't want to presume. No. But it is very interesting that they're now, we did talk about in many episodes out there how there's a perceived devaluation of music. $10 a month, all you can eat music, $3 a month if you buy the little Echo speaker for Amazon now, and then certain ones are like free on unlimited access for 90 days. So at those moments we get a decreased amount over all of those deals because they're only paying but so much, right? But now we're talking about a completely transformational thing that's happening where the music is now being offered up on the stock trade. We talked about that with Eminem. And now with the songwriter, she has the ability of auctioning off copyright. And it reminded me of way back when you talked about Victor Willis. Do you remember that case? Talk about that. That was the guy from Village People.
From the Village People, where he went back and he was able to sue previous claim owners in regards to back royalties for
but he did
like
sell
YMCA. No, he signed a bad
deal. And so he was able to
so he was able to go back because he was able to prove that he was instrumental in writing and creating those songs more so than the people who had
Right. So he was able to reclaim.
He was able to reclaim. Now, in the case of this young lady, what songs are we talking about that
if they're from Pitbull, Janet, and Britney,
they're used. So who's to say that somewhere down the line, if she would have waited, that $20-something thousand would have been $20 million.
You never know. But what's to say that, say, 30 years down the line,
200,000,
she may not be able to go back and sue to reclaim those copyrights that she's just now sold. Because Victor Willis is an example of doing that. Anyway, that's all the time we have today. We want you to, we encourage you always to visit our website at freedomradiohour.com and leave a comment under everything we're posting because we love to hear from you. But Make it your business to visit EddieNicholas.com for his fantastic music, and visit my website at DJAdamCruz.com for more of mine. And of course, we want to wish you a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time. Check out our free app for iPhone and Android users. Search us out within the App Store and within Google Play. Freedom Radio Hour, y'all.
I am House, and of course you can see who this one is all for.
Janet, Team Janet.
Peace and love.
See you next time.